Hello, everyone. Welcome back to episode 4 in solving the easy Kakuro puzzles. This week it will be quite a short video. I just want to concentrate on doing a recap of what we've gone through in learning about the pairs. We want to solve an easy puzzle from start to finish and just basically go through and show you how quickly we can sort these out with the methods that we've learned previously. So let's get straight into it and just work our way through, as I say, from top to bottom and then from left to right, and we'll just see how long this can take us. And then next time we'll step it up from the easy ones into the intermediate challenging games. Okay, three numbers adding up to 6 we know can only be 1, 2, or 3. So let's put those in. 1, 2, or 3. This can only be 1, 2, or 3, which means that this can only be a 5, a 6, or a 7 if it has to add up to 8. Across here we've got options here with making it the 11, 8. But looking vertically, we can work down here. We know that this has to be 1, 2, and 3 to make up 6, and this one can't be 1. So it can only be 2 or 3 in that square. This can only be 1 or 3. This can only be 1, 2, 3. Let's work on the tangents then. If that's a 3, then that has to be an 8. If it's a 2, it has to be a 9, which means that this can only be a 3 or a 4 because it's got to add up to 4. I know it has to be 3 and 1. So this one cannot be 1 because that's 3, then that has to be 9. Because that's 9, then this has to be 2 to make 11, and the 2 means that that is 3, which pairs up with the 6, which pairs up with the 8. So we subtract 8 from 17, and we're looking then at two numbers that will add up to 9. Let's carry on here. We're going to have option 17 will only give us the 8 or 9, the top pair with no other options. 8, 9, meaning that if it's a 9, this has to be 2. If it's an 8, it has to be 3. If it's a 3, this side has to be 5. If it's a 2, then it has to be 6. When we go through the column, we know that 23 is the second top highest no option one, can only be 6, 8, and 9. I can eliminate that 5. So 6 makes that the 2. The 2 will make this the 9. That 9 will make this the 8. And the missing number in the column then is 6, 8, and 9. 9 will make that 2. So we are now looking for a pair that adds up to 7. So we know there's quite a few options there. Let's go back to across here. 4 can only be 1 or 3. This can only be 1 or 3. Okay, here can only be 1 or 3. This can only be 1 or 3. In this column, we're looking for 3 numbers that add up to 19, so I know that the 1 cannot go there. If the 1 was there, that would mean we're looking for 2 numbers adding up to 18. They're too big. The highest pair you can get, as we know, is 17, which is 8 and 9, so that has to be 3, which makes this the 1. No, sorry, this has to be the 2, making this the 1. Okay, so 1 and 2 is 3, we're missing the 6 to make 9. Okay, because this is 2, we're now looking for the 2 numbers adding up to 17, which can only be 8 or 9. This can only be 8 or 9. Okay, 17 can only be 8 or 9. This can only be 8 or 9. 9 means that that has to be a 3 or a 4. Okay, because we've already got an established 8 that we can take from 17, it leaves us 9. We've got possibilities of 4 and 3. If it's a 4, that has to be a 5. If it's a 3, it has to be a 6. No other numbers can go in those boxes. Okay, let's carry on. 7 is going to give us options there. But vertically, we've now got a couple of option pairs here at 15. We know that it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This can only be 6, 7, 8, 9 in here. So the only number that can go in there that fits within the boundaries of 6, 7, 8, and 9, and that will have two numbers that add up to can only be 6 and the 1 to make the 7. And because this is 6, this has to be the 9. Okay, because we've got 1, that has to be 3. Because this is 3, this has to be 1. And it means that that one there cannot be 1. So we can eliminate it. Now we've established 1 and 3. In this box here, it can't be 1 or 3. So it has to be the 2, meaning in this box here, this has to be the 3. In this one here, it cannot be 2 or 3. It has to be the 1, making this the 7. 1 and 3 is 4, making this the 5. 7 and 5 is 12, making that the 4 to add up to 16. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 up here already, subtracted from the column. 1, 2, 3, 4 is 10. So we're now looking for 19 in 4 numbers. Let's carry on working across here. We've now got right in the middle the second highest no option triple, which is 689. 689. Oops. And this can only be 689. But because vertically we're looking for 24, I know it can't be the 6. So let's eliminate that 6. Now, we've got a matching pair here, 8, 9. This can't be 8 or 9. That has to be the 6. Okay, so 8, 9. We know that this one in here now in 24 can only be 7 or 8. This here can be 7, 8, or 9. Okay, 6 from 21 is going to leave it here, 11, 15. Okay, so if we subtract 6 from 21, then that is leaving us 15. We know that the two options in a 15 is either a 6 and a 9 or a 7 and an 8. So because we've got the 6, it cannot be the 6 and 9. It can only be a 7 and 8 in those two boxes. So we can put those in. 7, 8, 7, 8. Now down here, being 17, I know that this one cannot be the 7. So we've established now that that has got to be the 8, meaning that this one has to be the 9. Because this is 8, this is 7. This can't be 7, so that is the 8, meaning this can't be 8, that has to be 9. This can't be 8 or 9, so that has to be 7. This one now can't be 9, it has to be 8. This one has to be 9. We're very quickly filling this one up now, so we're looking here now. 7, 8, and 9 adds up to 24. So we're looking at two numbers there that add up to 11. So we know that it can't be 1. We know that it can't be 2, that goes with the 9. We know that it can't be 3, which will go with the 8 to make 11. We know that it can't be 4, which goes with the 7 to make 11. So the only numbers in there can be 5 and 6. 5 and 6. We've already got then working up to 7, 8, and 9. Okay, 3 numbers adding up to 23. I know it can't be 5. So we've now established 6 and 5. So we now for 23 we've got 6, 8, and 9. 8 will make that 9 to make the 24. Let's work back up the column. We've got a 5 established, so this has to be the 6. 6 and 8 is 14. This has to be the 3 to make 17. 3 means that that one has to be the 9 to make 12, and the 8 to make the 17. Okay, let's carry on over this side. 2 numbers adding up to 15, crossing with 2 numbers adding up to 14, so we know it's got to be 6, 7, 8, 9. 6, 7, 8, 9. Because this is 14, it can't be 7. If that can't be 7, this one cannot be 8. Okay, to make up 14, 9 and 5 is 14. 8 and 6 is 14, so it can't be 8 because we've got the 6 there. So let's eliminate the 8. If this can't be 8 and this has to add up to 15, that cannot be 7. Okay, so to make up 4, so we've got 9 and 5 is 14, and 6 and 8 is 14. So let's work and see what we can have in this column now. So 6, 7, and 9. makes 22. So we're now looking actually for 7, two squares here that will add up to 7. So obviously it can't be the 8. It has to be the 5 and the 2. 5 makes this to be the 9 to make 14. And this has to be 9 and 6 to make 15. Working down here, this pair's 2 options. We know it can't be 1, 2, 3, or 4, and we know it can't be 7. So it can only be 5, 6, 8, 9. This can only be 5, 6, 8, 9. This one cannot be the 6 because it's already established there. If that cannot be 6, this cannot be 8. Okay, let's carry on. 3 numbers adding up to 16, 2 adding up to 10. 16 can only be 7, 9. This can only be 7, 9. Across here, 12 is going to give us options, 8 is going to give us options, but we can narrow it down vertically. It can only be 1 or 2. This can only be 1 or 2, meaning this can only be 8 or 9. With these numbers, this can only be 6 or 7. However, we know that in here, 23 is the second highest triple run that doesn't have any options. It has to be 6, 8, 9. I can eliminate the 7. So I know that that has to be 6. This has to be the 2. The 2 means that this is the 1. This is then the 9. So to make the 23, it's got to be 6, 8, 9. 8 means that has to be 2. And this one here then has got to be the 9. So establishing 9, that means then that we're now looking at the 2 numbers that will add up to 7. We can put the tangents in off of these, but I think it's just going to be quicker for us to work through, and we'll do that on the vertical. We're not many numbers left here now. So, okay, 2 numbers adding up to 12. I know it can't be 1 and it can't be 2. Also, it cannot be 6. 14, we know it can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, can't be 7. It's a 2-option pair, so it can only be 5, 6, 8, 9. This can only be 5, 6, 8, 9. We know that in this one here, it can't be 9 because it's already established. If it can't be 9, it cannot be 5. Okay, because these numbers have to add up to 24. It's the highest triple run we've got with no options. It can only be 7, 8, and 9. So we can get rid of numbers that are not 7, 8, and 9. And the only one there is the 8, meaning that this one has to be the 7. 7 meaning that's got to be 5. And 8 here means that this has to be 6 to make 14. Double check 6 and 5 is 11. Okay, so we've done the run from the top to the bottom all the way across, and we've got more than 3/4 of it filled. Let's see if there's anything we can see vertically down this side. Okay, let's put in these pair options here. If that's a 9, that has to be 4 to make 13. If it's a 6, it's got to be 7 to make 13. If it's a 5, it's got to be 8 to make 13. So we know that 2 numbers left to make 16. It's got to be 9 and 7 is 16, so it can't be the 8 or the 7. Get rid of the 8, get rid of the 7. It then has to be 4, so this has got to be the 3 over here to make 7 and 9. Because this is 4, then this has to be 9 to make 13. 9 and 5 is 14. Okay, down here we're now looking at 2 numbers adding up to 16, which can only be 7 and 9. Can't be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and it can't be 8 because it's half. So it can only be a 7, 9. This can only be 7, 9. Okay, now then, let's count these up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. In a row of 7 numbers, you add up the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they add up to 28. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, so there are numbers. Any numbers outside it can't be the 9. So if that can't be 9, we've got 7. This is 9. What have we got left? We need a 1. Let's go down here. We need a 1. We've got 2, 3. We need a 4. We've got 5, 6, 7, 8. So they're the only numbers it can be. Now, in this number across here, I know that this one cannot be the 1 because you can't have then 2 numbers adding up to 20. So I can get rid of the 1. Okay. We've already got a 9 established here. So if this was the 4, then that would mean 21, 20, 19, 18, 17. This would have to be 8 and this would have to be 9. So it's still a possibility. So there we go again. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, it can't be 8. It's got to be the 4. So we're looking at 1 and 4. Sorry. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 makes the 28. Because it's 21, then it can only be, then we're looking at 21, 20, 19, 18, 17, which is 8 and 9. So get rid of the 7. It's got to be 9 and 8. 9 and 7 is 16. 7 and 1 is 8. And 4 is 12. And I think you'll find that that is it. Let's just check it. Okay, that has taken us 16 minutes to do that puzzle. As I say, work with those, try them all out, get used to them. Next time, I will just up the level and we'll go through a few other tips and tricks that we can show you to get into the intermediate stage. Thanks for watching. See you next time. Bye.